can't see this.
Hey fans, TrainNut 85. It is Friday the 15th, still in July, and I'm going upon another big journey once again. I had my journey into the Birmingham area, and this time I'll be going places I've yet to been to yet, or however that's put. I mean, excuse my script. But this trip is going to involve another buddy of mine. My buddy Mike from Middle Tennessee Rail Productions on YouTube. If you get a chance to check out his channel, he's done a lot of good stuff. He recently went up to Roanoke, Virginia and other areas to cover the last CPLs of the Norfolk and Western before NS replaces them. So you guys get a chance to check that out if he has it up. But anyways, a while back in June, he talked about doing a trip, to the west part of the state, to go on Illinois Central. Now, a while back, last year, me and another friend of mine covered Fulton, Kentucky, going on north onto the Caro sub. And we seen some stuff on there, but it was actually, it was more of how do you put it? It was more of a main line that's barely being used for such occasions of traffic is congested. It wasn't the other one that goes up to Paducah. So we covered that, but there was always a wonder about the line south of there. Now, the Illinois Central is one of those famous railroads. They had well-known lines. And of course, their train was the city of New Orleans, which traversed, from Chicago to New Orleans on that main line. So I'm getting to cover another portion of that, but I'm picking it up north of Memphis because I don't see any point in going to Memphis being a dangerous area, and I would not suggest it to anybody else. But before that, there's other areas that we're going to cover as well, and we're hoping to see if there's one railroad that's running. So, for starters, our first stop later on is going to be Corinth, which is right in Mississippi. So, the first time I'm going to be in Mississippi, they basically say, hey, I was at this state. But we're going to try and see if anything's running on the NS Memphis West District. So instead of being on the East District like I have been, which goes out of Stevenson going towards Huntsville, this time I'm going to be on the Memphis West District, which is the portion line from Sheffield to Memphis. So maybe we'll catch something there. Hopefully we get the KCS. It's actually the former Gulf Mobile and Ohio main line that they bought a while back. It was actually possession of a railroad called Mid-South. They had been bought out in the 90s, and KCS got possession of the line. And it's actually the Artesia sub. There's various businesses that they deal with. They do interchange with the West Tennessee Railroad, which is another railroad we're hoping to catch today in another location. So I'm actually just kind of waiting right now. This is getting turned into a whole weekend trip. So I'm waiting to see what all we can catch out there. Hopefully we'll get a few surprises out on the old Illinois Central if CN is running anything good. Never know. Something different, I'm down to the point where CS6's traffic is just completely immensely down. so I'm not doing too much on there. I'm trying to mix things up for you fans. Like I said, if you guys get a chance, check out my previous videos. I covered Central Alabama, mainly into Birmingham, Irondale, and even clips from Bessemer, which is on the AGS south of Norfolk Southern. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy these next clips. Like I said, our next clip will be at our first location, so stick around. Well, after one stop at Sheffield, the C2 trains, which I couldn't get on video, one of them you may see later on, but this is a diamond here in Corinth, Mississippi, and they give you a little info on this. This main right here belongs to Norfolk Southern. This is the Memphis West District, going on its way from Sheffield to Memphis. And the track in the foreground's also got a bit of history to it. This is the Kansas City Southern's Artesia sub that runs far north to interchange with the West Tennessee Railroad. This line itself was actually part of the Gulf Mobile and Howes main that ran down into Mississippi. It's actually changed hands quite a few times, being the GM&O first, and then in later years, Illinois Central had gotten possession after the 70s merger, which formed Illinois Central Gulf. Sometime in the 80s, the line was actually sold off to a railroad called Mid-South, which only lasted until the 90s, in which upon Kansas City Southern had actually bought it out and obtain ownership of this line as well. So it only runs a little far north, but the nice part is a clear view of this diamond. This is actually an owl, which is a one-way low speed. Norfolk Southern has the higher speed, which is probably going to be 30 miles an hour, while the Kansas City Southern has to maintain a low speed of 10 when crossing the diamond. But as you can see, it is signal protected. What's interesting is an old Norfolk and Western trailer, probably dates from the 60s, that's sitting over there. I'm going to zoom up on it. It would have had the old hamburger logo, but it's kind of faded off there, but you can still make part of it. Now the interesting though, as you pan back around, is the view of the depot itself. As you can see here, that's my buddy Mike, Middle Tennessee Railroad Productions, as I told you earlier in the last clip. So it took us a few hours to get here, but this is a neat little place. As you can see there, they got a bench out front for anybody that's wanting to sit here, maybe wait for a train or two, just kind of enjoy the day. But other than that, I mean, you got full view, for anybody that's a photographer like I am. So that's the view looking back on the Norfolk Southern eastbound, heading towards Sheffield. We keep getting some radio chatter, but the nice thing is I'm going to view down there, and it's kind of giving me an idea if there's any eastbounds. There's a little platform up there, which is right above an area that's actually housing an old fire truck. To me, this is one of the neatest views if you can ever visit. This is Corinth, Mississippi. Just about a half hour past the state line of Mississippi and Alabama. This is actually a good little place to stop and, just get a view, if you're a photographer or a videographer like I am. But anyways, we're going to wait around. We did catch one of the local crews for Kansas City Southern and said they are going to move a train. Maybe a little while, so we're going to stick around long enough to see if we can catch anything, so stay tuned. Well, lo and behold, after a little bit of a wait, Norfolk Southern is going to take its turn. Memphis bound train. It might have been one of the ones I seen earlier. It might be a different one, but we're just going to watch it hit this diamond. Train 101. Well, that was 101, which we've seen in Sheffield. They finally caught back up to us, but I was glad to get it here. Well, after stopping to pick up something from the depot, we're now getting the KCS local, and you're going to be surprised what's on the lead. They might be going to pick up some cars, but that lead unit heading up is a bit surprising. I almost thought it was going to be in the Southern Bell scheme like the trailing Jeeps are, but to get a Canadian wide cab in the gray scheme, you can't go wrong with that. Well, they came out pretty far. They're throwing a reverse. I think they're going to pick up more cars, so we'll get them coming back south when they get more. Well, while we're waiting for the KCS logo to make a return, NS 733 got the signal indication, and we heard him calling off. So he's just about getting close to here as we hear him off in the distance.
He's literally right there.
Yep.
Want to go ahead and start?
bit of a wait. I'm having to keep this quiet because my buddy Mike's recording, but the KCS local is about to head back south through here after collecting more cars. Well, we're officially on day 2 of our odyssey into the west part of Tennessee. I'm still sitting here with my buddy Mike, and we're sitting here on the CN, former Illinois Central Main. We're at a place known as Rialto. which still puts us way north of Memphis. And the signals they have here, well, they're ABS style, even though there's a controlled siding here, so it's going to kind of make it a little difficult in seeing if there's anything coming. So this is where patience and having a good scanner on hand is going to come into play on this one. But we're hoping to see what all we can get. I was told there's various good locations along the line here, so we're going to be on that journey today. So let's see what we can get on day 2 of our odyssey. So here it is, months later after my last trip here. We're back here in Fulton, Kentucky at CN's yard. This time the power arrangement's a little different. This was a big treat. Sorry for the camera wiggle there, but it was nice to get this SD40-2 Canadian Y cab and still in the old CN North America scheme. And what you saw in the previous clip was the yard job that has one in the newer scheme, along with the former Illinois Central Jeep there, still with the IC marks on there, but in the new paint. And of course got a Gevo with the Aboriginal sticker unit on the nose there. But supposedly we heard on the radio we got another train somewhere. So we're hoping to see it come in. That may be our southbound chase for the day, excuse me. But anytime you get action in a certain area, it's always a good omen. And I'll tell you, yep, we're gonna start getting stuff for the day. So stay tuned for the next clips. Well, after a bit of wait here at South Reeves, we actually get our southbound on its way towards Memphis. So we're actually making a return trip very slowly. We left Covington not too long ago, and now we're here in Jackson, which we came through on day one. And they say we kind of stopped out because I want to see this. Mike's with me, so we had a very disappointing time on the CN, only 3 trains. But this is going to make up for it. So I'm going to show you guys this. We're in the Casey Jones Village, big shopping center. It's got a restaurant and all that. Right down there is an old Gulfmobile in Ohio passenger car with Judge Milton Brown. Not sure if they came off the Rebel or if the Gulf Coast Rebel, one of their main trains that they ran back in the day, because the GM&O had a main line right through Jackson here along with the Illinois Central. Well, it's kind of a nice little touch, you know, especially, you know, with a place like that. But anyways, we're going to kind of glance around here. I'm going to start with this first, and we'll kind of move our way down. I'm not sure if this is a National Depot or if this is a mock-up, but kind of nice to see one of the original station signs on the Illinois Central. Chicago, 470 miles. Birmingham, which I did not know they ran to, because I thought this ran straight into Mississippi. 220 something miles. So not sure why they would list Birmingham unless it was a break-off line. Anyways, you kind of see the various things. This is neat. It's a state sign, like for when you're entering state of Mississippi on the main line, and right on the other side is Tennessee. Well, kind of neat little display. I'm definitely gonna have to make a future trip back here. I did have some friends that came here and said this was a neat little museum, but some of their upkeep is a little disappointing. This is actually a mock-up of 382. It's not the actual locomotive that was wrecked when Casey Jones was killed. This is a little mock-up of it. You know, just kind of give you an idea. Give you a little story. Casey Jones was an engineer for the Illinois Central back in the day. He had started out his career with one other railroad, and then he went to the Illinois Central when he had the chance to. He wanted to build up his career. It was his dream. And when he got to Illinois Central, it took him about maybe a few years before he was able to get his dream position, being the engineer. And before I continue with that story, kind of give you a little down. Oh, this thing needs a bad cosmetic job. I mean, this is what weathering does to a paint job. And you can see all the streaks and all. It's all the acid off the paint. After quite a while there, they need to fix this thing up. So that's I forget what kind of locomotive that is. It's an old 10-wheeler made by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. Don't know what year it is. Mike says this is actually a former Clinchfield unit.
I believe it's Clinchfield 99.
Okay, Clinchfield 99. So whenever they bought it, they just mocked it up. So, you know, kind of give you an idea. But anyways, coming back here, we got an old Illinois Central mail car. This thing is in a little rough shape too. Part of the roof back here looks like it collapsed a little bit. And I'm not sure if this is a former Illinois Central caboose or not, but it's definitely old with the way the style of the cupola is. But it's definitely in rough shape. There's some little maintenance cart back there, a little crane. Kinda neat to see. But anyways, next clip you'll see the other side I'm about to show you. Coming back to the other side. Like I said, this is definitely a future trip for me. You know, whenever I come back here. The nice thing is they got a train store. Some kind of neat little stuff they got. And there's a free library. Yeah, like anybody wants to read a math book. So it's part of the Civil War trails. So this is definitely going to be a future trip back here. Come back here, and this is kind of a nice little touch. This is actually Casey Jones's original home that they saved. So this is actually part of the museum. Kind of seeing the window there, which this is neat. Anyways, I got the sign here and I'm gonna read it off. So his name was John Luther Jones. His affectionate nickname was Casey, so he was called Casey Jones. So a folk song had immortalized his name. To give you a story, he was commandeering a train and he was running late one night on April 30th, 1900. His fatal mistake was that he failed to recognize a signal that somebody was holding by a lantern, telling him, hey, you know, there's a train up ahead, you need to stop. He was in too much of a hurry, he was running late, and on the night of April 30th, his firemen had jumped off knowing that they were not going to stop in time because it was a decision that was made too late. Jumped off, Casey rode at the throttle, and upon impact, you know, run into a back end of a stopped freight train, killed immediately in Vaughn, Mississippi. He's buried here somewhere in Jackson, but I remember watching a video cassette tape you know, about that, and one guy, you know, criticized his choices, and while he was very careless, yeah, carelessness will get you this, but you know, just out of respect, you know, what happened. But anyways, we're gonna poke around here for a little more, and Jackson, and our next stop will be Corinth, so stay tuned next. So we're making our way towards where the NC depot is at. I'm gonna go see it. Come by this nice little surprise. And this is actually a good looking building. It's definitely an original. So I don't know if there was a small yard here, but we crossed over a track just back that way, so they had to been the original main, the Illinois Central, so more likely this was like an office facility. Yeah, just the treasures you come upon. So after that golden catch there just near downtown Jackson, we get to here, and this is actually an NC and CN depot that survived, and that was one of the ones I had mentioned in the previous clip that we're going to see. So you're going to see that they got quite a little display here. They got a Florida East Coast passenger car, Florida Matanzas, that's what they call it. And what's neat about it is on each side of it, this thing is definitely old. It has to date, you know, at least 30s, but on each side at the end they deem it as the Flagler system, after Henry Flagler, who was the one that built the railroad back then. But another place run by the city, it's more used as an arts center, and of course there's the remnants of an old block signal which they just left, and it looked like it had been gutted. And this is, you can see the outer lens is gone. The inner one that lights up is there. That one's completely gutted. So I imagine that's probably one of the block signals that protected one of the crossings that the NC had to cross. The NC crossed both the Illinois Central and the Gulf of Mobile, Ohio, which had main lines here. Those tracks actually survived. I think they're now owned by the West Tennessee Railroad. And I don't think this is an actual semaphore, but still nice to see. It's got the old wooden, the blades are wood. It may be, it may be not, I don't know, but it's still nice to see, you know, where you can actually move it. But I think they just got it chained down. Yeah, they just have them chained down just in position. And this ticks me off. That's the actual station name, but they put office space right over it. It just clear disrespect by the city doing this. That is an actual NC signal, designation 75.6. I think it's 75 from either, I'm thinking 75 from Nashville if I had to guess. Either 75 from Nashville or from Memphis, but still nice to see that this has been preserved. I remember seeing these up all along the Chattanooga sub. One of the ones I finally remember in my hometown of Cowan, the one that sat by the crossing, they had the double head. This is a single head. This would be an intermediate signal along the main there, telling you that if the line is clear or if you need to slow down. So kind of nice little thing. But they got this passenger car. There's a Chessie wide vision cupola caboose down there, and kind of give you a reference, you know, what the other side looks like. What I like about this, if you look at the window trims, that is NC colors right there. The yellow is faded out. The green's a little darkened, kind of keeping respect, you know, to the railroad that once ran here. And this was actually the main line that the city of Memphis once ran on. This was one of their station stops here between Nashville and Memphis. So I imagine there was a second track, you know, for you know, the passenger train to stop on, just in case, you know, they were running freights. So I'll get on this side here. This is the only short section of track. I think it goes, you know, somewhere outside of Jacksonville each way there, you know, to service businesses. But this was part of the actual Memphis mainline. You know, in 1957, when the L&M bought out the NC, even though they say it was a merger, but I say it's a buyout because they bought out the rest of the stock, you know, from what I found in my research. The L&M made this a secondary line, keeping with their line going to Memphis. Sometime a long time ago, they decided, well, we're not going to keep use of this. But the important, one of the factors on there's a relay box down there that had an old CS6 no trespassing sign that was stuck to it, so it survived some years until the actual main line was, you know, mostly taken up. Been ripped up somewhere outside west of Jackson to Memphis, and then somewhere east of Jackson to Nashville. You know, actually the section between I think it's McKenzie. Yeah, McKenzie in here is where it was ripped up as well. So, you know, there was some survivor bits. So, deeming that the main line from Nashville to Chattanooga is the original surviving main line that they kept, all for the purpose of serving Chattanooga as well, because they also had a connection with the W&A into Atlanta. This line had a significant historical importance when the city of Memphis ran on it. Now, I'll come over here. As you see, that's the depot right there. I'm gonna try and get across here. This is a busy road, so I'm gonna be careful. As you see there, you know, the main line keeps going west. Now, what I like about this, there's this foundation that was awfully close. That's definitely railroad. I don't know if it could be a maintenance way shack or something, but there was something of importance there. This is old. This screams NC right here. You barely see these anymore. This is a US&S signal relay box. This predates before the merger right here. This is definitely old. I've seen a few of these in my lifetime. And of course they stuck a meter right on the side of it. That's too new. But as you can see here, this is a survivor right here. And I think the telegraph poles were on the opposite side of the depot here. What I like about that cross, it's still got the mechanical belt. You'll have to excuse that idiot. Oh, I was gonna view right across there. There's a mural just on the other side of that street there. It's got an NC locomotive painted into it, and a mock-up the depot as well. So we're still doing some poking around here. I did peek inside the museum. It's more of an art center, which does not interest me because every person's doing something different. So, well, we're gonna continue to poke around here, so stay tuned. Well, I'm still getting some trains. Yeah, we just got here to Corinth, and of course that was our first westbound. Don't know if anything else is coming. But it was kind of nice to get a pair of EP motors. That was MO1 on his way to Memphis. Like I said, I'm a bit disappointed. After one clip, CN lit up for northbound. Yeah, it was for northbound. On this way out of Memphis going to Fulton. We waited an hour and a half. It got dark, so me being a photographer is, photo wise, I lost my light. Videos, had those darn salt lights. So that generally didn't work out. It was too dark out, and we just went back to our hotel room. But you figure after waiting an hour and a half, as soon as we pulled in the parking lot, heard a horn. I'm like, That's the kind of things you get in this darn hobby is, when you're out waiting long enough, but of course you spend enough time out in this blazing sun, 100-degree weather, you definitely lose your energy out of it. And we were gonna try and stick it out, but with the way traffic's been on the CN, it just, me and Mike both decided against it, so we said the heck with it. I wanted to see Jackson, and a few things there. I did accomplish that. I'm thinking I want to plan a future trip back there because the track layout itself is interesting. 3 railroads that intersected there, so there was definitely a lot of business going on, and not to mention, finding that huge building with Illinois Central Railroad still on it, which that's kind of a nice touch. Means it's being well taken care of and they're respecting the historical aspect of it. So we venture on there, and we did go to the yard. There wasn't much going on, and we decided going further on it because their power was actually sitting out where you could see it. But being a weekend and nobody being on staff in the yard, it was not a good idea to continue on. So we made our way south back to here, and we're gonna wait and see what all is gonna come through. Bit of a surprise to get here. There was a high green, for westbound. Of course, we didn't have to wait long, so that was a bit of a nice treat. But still like this area of Corinth. It's such a neat area. I mean, kind of funny in a way. There, just about over there is the old freight house. But I got talking with the lady that was running the museum yesterday, and she was sitting there telling me a little bit about the area and all that. There's actually an old pharmacy nearby that's got a lot of nostalgia in it. And I wanted to see that the last time I was here, but we just ended up pressing on, to make her drive up, and see what all was going on, maybe see, if there was anything. But anyways, we're gonna try and see what we can get here, and it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter day on this, but all in all, at least I got out, done something different for once. I still got some different trips planned for later this year. I don't know what I'm doing next month. That's kind of up in the air, but if it's anything, it's gonna be stuff I've already done, so I might not see a video out of that. September is going to be a busy month. Cowan is going to have its Fall Heritage Festival the 3rd weekend, so I will be busy with that. So I don't think I'll be doing anything. October, we'll finally be getting to see Arkansas. And the reason I'm saying that is we got talking about a trip to Marion, Arkansas, which is just on the other side of the Mississippi River from Memphis. And I was told that the BNSF is very busy. So I was like, yeah, that's what we need right there. We need some busy main lines. We got that in the Union Pacific. Mike from Middle Tennessee Railroad Productions, the one I've been riding with on this trip here, says he knows those areas and all. So maybe we'll be in for some good stuff on there. As far as October goes, November, I'm planning for the first time a trip to Meridian, Mississippi, which is way further south on this old GM&O main here. As a matter of fact, that's where it goes down right to Meridian. So I seen a video that Drayton Blackgrove did for TrainNut Productions. He was down there recently. Really good video. If you guys get a chance, check it out. Go on TrainNut Black's channel. Pull it up. He ended up chasing this local. They had a set of Jeeps on there. And he got down. He was actually exploring some of the right areas, and I think Meridian was one of them. But Meridian is known for a speedway, and it's, you know, some hot action. But it's also got the NS's AGS South, which is a line that comes out of Birmingham, which was on recently a while back, earlier this month, you know, in Bessemer. So we definitely know that they do run trains at a fairly good speed through there. So anyways, guys, we're going to stick it out and see what we get, so stick around. Well, a little bit of a wait, and the KCS loco is running again. This time going north with a set of cars. Except this time a Southern Belle Jeep is leading this one. So we're actually going to get a view of it in a different angle, just on the other side of the Norfolk Southern main. quite the length of the train that they're pulling up. I don't know how many of these cars are for Norfolk Southern or West Tennessee. There was some steel coal cars in there. He just cleared. Nice to see 3 Jeeps in the Southern Belle. One of them a non-dynamic brake Jeep, which is something you rarely see anymore. So we're gonna see whenever they come back.